Ladies and gentlemen, I have a panel here that is going to discuss about the rural connectivity and the issues that relate to that, may I call it, ecosystem in the rural areas. We have the telecom, the investors, they want to make money, and we have people who want to connect to access the digital opportunities. And there is also something that is referred to as the telecom dark areas, where, you know, an investor thinks about, you know, if I invest money in an area which has less than maybe 5,000 people, my return on investment is shaky. But we need those people to be connected. The idea of connecting rural sometimes is difficult. Sometimes it is not difficult in some areas. But in a situation where you have like 2G or 3G, how long will this, you know, take to be able to connect these people in the rural areas? Given the fact that if you look at statistics, more than 60–70% of you know, populations in most of the countries that you know, developing or in Africa live in rural areas. So I want to start with Bradley. What needs to be done? And you will go in that after your introduction. And please state what your company does so people can build an understanding of what Lynk does. And perfect. That goes for Helios and Mr. Prakhar. Karibu.
Great stuff. Asante. Good afternoon. About 21 minutes. Thanks so much for having us again. Nazar, thanks for the panel. Madan, thanks for this morning. Tariq and the team, again, great day yesterday and a fantastic morning again this morning. Thank you very much. My name is Bradley Shaw. I'm the VP Middle East and Africa for Lynk Global. We're a new entrant to the market as a satellite player in the LEO orbit. We have had the most incredible 2 weeks. We've had I suppose we're going to come to that. No, let's start with the question in terms of rural connectivity and what needs to happen. So from a Lynk perspective, what we're doing is connecting a LEO orbiting satellite directly to your mobile phone with no terrestrial ground equipment at all. So for us, when it comes to talking about the rural now, it's a very simple process. We put a satellite beam down and we connect to your mobile phone directly to the satellite, backhaul down via KA ground station, and connecting into the operator's core. So it's a very simple process for us. I've spent the last 12 to 13 years talking about rural connectivity in Africa. Juanita and some others in the crowd might remember that I was the editor of Africa Telecoms, a Pan-African telecoms-focused magazine that we launched in 2009 and ran until 2013. And we have been having the same conversation for the last 12 to 13 years. We're still talking about rural connectivity. All we're doing now is we're talking about 3G, 4G, and 5G, not 2G. So there's really no difference. We have made incredible progress on the continent in terms of connecting the unconnected. Have we done enough? Absolutely not. The GSMA says that we've still got 50-odd% of the population that's currently unconnected in Africa. So yes, we have a lot of work to do. We have the solutions available to make that happen. Helios has done fantastic work in terms of rolling out additional sites across their networks. I've worked for New RAN Wireless, who's a small RAN vendor. I've worked for Vanu, who was a small open RAN vendor. I'm now working in the satellite space, providing RAN coverage from satellite. So I've gone through this journey. I've gone through all the business models. We've worked with the network as a service business models like AMN, they were a customer. Rihanna out of Nigeria were a customer. GCS out of Nigeria, a customer. We've worked with all of these players. We've looked at all the business models. There are the solutions available. What we need is buy-in from the communities that want the coverage, as well as governments and regulators providing suitable regulations for us to deploy in these countries and in these areas. Thanks.
Thank you. If we may go to Keenja, please.
Yeah, good afternoon. Thank you, Nazar, for this opportunity. My name is Amani Keenja. I'm the head of projects for Helios Towers, Tanzania. Our job is to build, maintain, and operate telecommunication infrastructure in the country and in all countries that we operate in, currently in 10 countries. We do so upon request from our customers, so it is our customers that request for these new infrastructures to be built. And we are happy to say that among the over 4,200 sites that we have in our portfolio in Tanzania, 44% of them are in rural areas. In the past 12 months, we have built over 400 sites. 72% of them are in rural areas, and we are progressing that. If that trend continues, I believe this rural connectivity discussion will come to an end. We work very closely with our customers. We have engagement meetings every week to understand their requirements and challenges and potential coverage holes, especially in the rural areas. We work very closely with municipals where we get our building permits, very closely with Tanzania Civil Aviation Authority where they give us a permission to build tower at certain heights. We work with the NEMC, the National Environment Management Council, for the environmental permits. We work with communities because those are the people who allow us to build in their lands. And these engagements have been very fruitful over the last 11 years that we have been operating in Tanzania.
Thank you, Amani. Mr. Prakhar, I know you care passionately about, the digital divide. How do you see satellite communication helping in bridging the digital divide in rural communities? Given that you have been working in this area for a long time, please.
Thanks. Hello. First of all, I'm very glad to be here. Thanks, Extensia, and thanks, Tanzania, for hosting us over here. It has been a brilliant 2-day conference, 1.5 day, and we'll have a very good next half of the day during this conference. I have been with satellite industry for the past 5 years, and I have sat in many of these rural connectivity panels before as well. And before I answer this question, I agree with my colleagues over here on rural connectivity that it's a very important thing to solve. And the reason is that, as some of our panelists in discussion yesterday said, we should consider it as a utility, as an important utility, as an important infrastructure, as important as water, road, or transport, because it really increases the ability of a community to contribute to the GDP of the country. So having said that, technologies can be diverse. It could be satellite, it could be terrestrial, it could be anything. But these are just one of the enablers for a service provider to enable connectivity solutions. And for rural connectivity, the time to market is today. It's as essential as probably yesterday that everybody should be connected. And for that, I think satellite plays a very important role. So I'll not restrict myself as just a satellite technology provider. We are a technology company, and we like to solve problems for connecting the people. And satellite right now is in that phase where there's a lot of innovations coming. As we could see that we have now Lynk. That's a revolutionary way of connecting the people. And we are also innovating a lot in terms of putting in R&D on multiple multi-orbit solutions. So we are there for all our service providers to provide the latest in terms of the technology for connecting people.
But Bradley, there is, I am in a village somewhere. The terrain is not very good. And I'm trying to access internet. But what I'm reading on my phone is like 2G, and it is going on and off. I am unable to connect. With Lynk, what hope is there if I am in the rural? I mean, what hope do I have? Can I get from Lynk?
Yeah. So thanks very much for it. So I see the slides are on already. I can actually show you guys what we're talking about. So over here we've got the list of the satellites that we've launched. Oh, sorry, yeah, the 6th and 7th that are going up now. This is inside the SpaceX shuttle. SpaceX is basically the Uber of space. This is a ride share. This little unit here, and I'm not quite sure why this is green, but this little pizza box here, this is our 1 meter by 1 meter satellite. The rest are satellites from other vendors that are going up on the same ride as us. And that was the first commercial unit that we put into orbit. So Farah, coming back to your question in terms of the person in the rural village or outside of the village in the mountains, right now, as when we launch the commercial service, we will be able to give that person access to low Erlang messaging services only. At the point where we have launched 500 satellites into orbit, 500, we will have a continuous service, and then we will be able to provide voice, data, and SMS. Technically, right now, the bird is capable of all three of those technologies. Just the user experience will be absolutely terrible, because with one satellite, we have a 3-minute coverage of every square inch of the Earth twice a day for 3 minutes. So that's not enough to make a voice call. It's not enough to really make a data connection, but it is enough for an SMS to authenticate. So we're seeing applications in Saudi Arabia, for example. They're looking at using IoT along the pipelines, using Lynk technology. So we did an overpass across the eastern seaboard of the US, across New York, Maryland, Washington, and some other, I can't remember what the other state was. In that overpass, in one overpass of 3 minutes, we picked up 5,000 devices that weren't connected to any network. In that portion of the US, there were 5,000 devices not connected to any network. Combine harvester was one of the IoT things we picked up. Another one was a tractor. Another one was some sensor on a power line. And then a whole lot of mobile phones. And from when we get to the 500 satellites in the air, we expect that in the rural villages, we will be able to provide 100 meg per second downlink speeds to the device with no terrestrial infrastructure. Now, that is an incredible opportunity for the entire planet. Think about what it means for maritime. If you're out in your boat in the middle of the ocean, having access to 100 meg per second to your device, that's an incredible opportunity. We're super excited about what it means for connectivity generally, but to my experience in the market, the amount of capex that's required to deploy rural connectivity, this is the easiest solution. There's zero capex to the operator, zero capex to the country, and we can provide this connectivity directly from a satellite. And that gives you then security, because no one can access it. No one can burn down a tower during a political violence. No one can vandalize or steal the solar panels, which Helios, you guys deal with on a regular basis, I'm sure. Oh, not just great stuff. I know in South Africa we talk about Vodacom and MTN dealing with theft of solar panels all the time. So yeah, Nazar, I hope that answers the question.
Thank you, Bradley. I think I have a follow-up question on that. I would like to say that there is a little man in the village. He's just not to demean, but it's just in terms of the capacity to be able to pay such services. Because to me, it sounds like sort of science fiction. I mean, I don't know if the audience is following, but to me it sounds like a science fiction. Can you please overlay, bring us from the brink of fear,
So,
what you talked about
in terms of pricing?
Yeah.
Okay, so in terms of pricing, Lynk will not have a direct consumer relationship with any customer. We work with MNOs to deploy service. The MNO in that country understands their consumer better than we do. So why would we want to get involved in that relationship? We will provide the service to the MNO. The MNO will then provide pricing and packages and whatever to their end customers. That is our route to market. So we believe that we work with the partners that know their customers best, and I believe in Africa, the MNOs know their customers better than anyone else. So that's how we would work it.
Thank you, Bradley. Satellite investment is quite on the higher end of things. I hope that benefit can really translate into intrinsic value for the customer in the rural area. Now, I think we are going to open to the audience. We could have like a few questions for interaction. If you have a comment, I know we can borrow some brains in the room to bring some sense into all these difficult stuff. Yes. Science fiction.
Yeah, thank you very much. I'm from South Sudan again. My question is that we are socializing with all the technologies from LEO and also from the satellite vendors like Neuron, ISOC, and the ones that you've mentioned. Now my question is, if the Leon solution is successful, is there a possibility of collaborating with the traditional satellite Earth station providers, or it will be completely death by technology from the satellite providers? Thank you. Thank you very much. I'm from South Sudan again. My question is that we are socializing with all the technologies from LEO and also from the satellite vendors like Neuron, ISAT, and the ones that you've mentioned. Now my question is, if the Leon solution is successful, is there a possibility of collaborating with the traditional satellite Earth station providers, or it will be completely death by technology from the satellite providers? Thank you.
Who was that question for? Was it for me or you? I'm happy to take it. So from our perspective, the analysts that we've been speaking to estimate that the direct mobile phone to satellite business will be worth $80 billion within the next 10 years. At $80 billion in revenue over 10 years, there's more than enough space for multiple players. We don't believe that there's a winner-takes-all philosophy in this market. There are multiple use cases. For example, we won't offer services in urban areas. The density of coverage and the density of connectivity that you need and the capacity that's required over a 500-kilometer distance doesn't make sense. Fiber is the right solution for that environment. However, moving into rural, we believe that we have the right solution. Why would you need, sorry Helios, why would you build a tower in the remote area if you can provide the coverage from a satellite?
I see competitors, trying to.
Sorry, guys.
Yeah, I mean, it's all it is a friendly fire. So I think you will agree with me. That was yes.
Sorry, but Nazar, just to add.
Yes.
Helios, in the urban area and the suburban area where capacity is required, makes perfect sense, like fiber. Because the fiber is going to get to the point and that needs to be backhauled somehow from their towers. So that's why I say it's fit for purpose in certain areas.
Yeah, I think that is where collaboration is really needed. We can collaborate, the Helios and Lynk. You can come to some agreement that, this is how we do it. Yesterday, we were talking about collaborations, getting things, forward. Please, some other questions?
Yes, thank you, Chairman. Sorry, I'm used to this word. My question, actually just point of clarification. I missed part of the conversation, so my question might not necessarily be as intelligent as it should be. This service from Brad, is this a geo or non-geo service?
No, Leo.
Leo service, I see. And it's not a HAPS, it's just Leo, normal Leo.
It's Leo, yeah. Well, it's an asynchronous Leo that spirals the Earth. It's not a kind of synchronous orbit around the equator or anything like that. So that's how we can have one satellite that covers the entire globe. And that 500 satellites will create that spiral around the Earth, so we have continuous coverage.